quick speech. If you don't know what CU is, we are a national nonprofit organization that's dedicated to the preservation, restoration, and promotion of walkable urbanism in a traditional neighborhood pattern environment. I represent CNU Latino, which is the Latino organization within the mothership of the Congress of New Urbanism. We strive to help young Latino developers and old ones like me, architects, planners, and just people who are interested in their own communities and revitalizing and creating really wonderful places to live.
Again, my name is Brzezinski. I'm the founder of the Congressional Black Caucus for New Urbanism. And the reason why I started it is because I found myself being in rooms like this with all the beautiful people and being the only black guy. So I figured that that's a problem if we're talking about building places and there's not enough people that look like me to build those places. So I have the courage enough to start the CDC in the youth. Hello everyone, my name is Savor. I'm a senior platinum for the city of Houston for the last 8 years. I'm a senior member. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is the first event of many others that we're going to have with CA in Houston. But I have the hard job to introduce somebody who may not need introduction. She is the director of the City of Houston Planning and Development Department, and thanks to her knowledge and experience, she's helping to make Houston a better place. So with that, please welcome Director Wallace Brown.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for coming out. In Houston, plan a lot. We plan resilience plan, we complete community plan. The problem is, we don't implement everywhere. Let's go through these plans. What can we control that can help that? And we worked on it, we went through all the plans, and we came up with 4 basic answers. 1, we need to reduce the amount of land that it takes to build a home. We need to reduce the parking. We need to encourage smaller units, and we need to preserve what we have. And I don't mean from a historic preservation perspective, I mean naturally occurring affordable housing. Let's preserve what's on the ground. The next thing we want to do is we recognize that Houston sprawls. How can we reduce sprawl? And we want to encourage infill. So those 4 answers and those 2 principles led us on a 3-year effort to implement what we call the Livable Places Action Agenda. Again, these were the 4 principles: smaller lots, different types of open space, more ways to access the parking, and narrow and fewer driveways. After all of this discussion and all of this engagement, we came up with 4 basic ways we could help Houstonians afford and obtain better and different homes than what we had on the market. 1 is we wanted to maximize the garage apartments, ADUs, reduce the parking required for them, expand the size. Number 2 we did was we wanted to make 4plexes, 6plexes. If you were in the college in the 70s or the 80s, you probably lived in a 4plex. What we had control over was we reduced the parking required, and we're gonna start seeing them. We haven't seen these in years. We haven't permitted a 4plex in Houston in like 30 years. Number 3 thing we did, this is the game changer for me, courtyard style development. No minimum lot size, no maximum density, very small parking requirements only because the neighborhoods forced us to do that, as long as you have 150 feet of open green space for every unit. So around a courtyard, around some open space, you can build tiny homes, you can build small homes, you can build whatever you want, as dense as you want. You do need some parking for it, but the parking is removed. It's in the back so that we're not putting all of our cars on the street in front of the sidewalks. We're getting rid of some of the driveways that are really populating our neighborhoods. This one, I've had at least 6 or 8 developers just chomping at the bit. When is this effective? When can I do this? How can I do this quickly? So we're very excited about this. This was the controversial one. So what we said was, if you're going to build a home, if you're going to subdivide land and you're going to face the street, we want you to face the street. How many times do you drive down a street and the 3-pack of townhomes or the 25-foot wide home is nothing but a garage? If anything happens on that street, can the people who live in that home help? Do they even know there was a car accident in front of, or a kid was hit by a car? Do they know what's going on in their street? Probably not. I live in a 25-foot wide front loader, so I know what I'm talking about. At the very end, we compromised. We came up with something that both the builders were happy with and we were happy with, but nobody loves entirely. We used a lot of pictures showing that just because we're requiring 2 parking spaces doesn't mean they're being used for parking. And we are building on this argument, and we will be back with this idea next.
A lot of this is focused on residential development. Has there been any appetite in either in planning or permitting or building department to focus on things like accessory commercial units or small scale infill development, like a temporary workspace or adding commercial to a, like live work type project?
What we don't talk, yes. So what we don't talk about a lot is that ADU that we've talked about doesn't have to be residential. If it's not single family deed restricted, it can be commercial. You could certainly put the ADU in front and make it commercial. So all of that is kind of fungible because of the fact that we don't have zoning.
I have a question. Would the city of Houston ever reconsider the parking requirement for bars? Because I feel like bars have the highest parking requirement, and having a high parking requirement would encourage driving as opposed to Uber.
Yeah, that's certainly, I've got half a dozen planning commissioners who think we ought to have a 0 parking requirement for bars because all we're doing is encouraging people to drive cars. It would certainly be on our list. So it's not black and white. There has to be some nuances. Let me just say thank you for everything you do, because we couldn't do anything without you, and thank you.